Hello and welcome to Last Week in AWS. What a list of announcements we have to go through. Let's dive on in and see how it treats us. Just as an aside before we do, I will be at Scale, the Southern California Area Linux Expo, next week, and then afterwards at SRECon here in San Francisco. If you're at either one of those, please say hi. The entire reason I do this is to honestly get out of the house and bother other people that aren't my immediate family. Now, let's see here. Amazon CloudFront announces availability of embedded points of presence, and I'm very interested to know the economics of the ISP side of the deal. Reach out and ask us about hosting an embedded POP. Okay, does money change hands? If so, in which direction? Anywho, it is an interesting approach to getting assets as close as physically possible to your end user. Amazon CloudWatch Logs now supports IPv6. Some Amazonians have advanced the position that charging for IPv4 addresses is not meant to drive IPv6 adoption. This is patently absurd. When you start charging for a thing, the free alternatives to that thing get implemented a fair bit more. When your own support for those free alternatives is flagging, then folks are absolutely going to get salty about it. Amazon Data Firehose adds message extraction feature for decompressed CloudWatch logs. This is economically interesting. So much log data is frankly boilerplate that isn't needed. If you can reduce the noise in favor of more signal, your observability bills will potentially go down by a lot. Amazon EC2 M7i.Metal 24XL instance is now generally available for VMware Cloud on AWS. You won't care about the cost once Broadcom adjusts its pricing for VMware Cloud on AWS whenever their existing AWS contract partner thing comes up for renewal. This would be an excellent time for you to build an exodus plan. Every VMware renewal story I've been hearing from customers is an expensive bloodbath. You've been warned. Amazon EKS announces support for Amazon Linux 2023. See, the problem with tying version names to calendar years is that this launch already feels like AWS is behind the times. I'm not entirely kidding here. There's a strong psychological element that's at play. AWS announces Amazon Neptune I/O optimized. If you need a graph database, you don't, and are using Neptune in that capacity, you probably shouldn't. This gets rid of the I/O charge in favor of boosting the instance price, much like Aurora did last year. This is worth running the numbers on if you're either of the customers running Amazon Neptune. AWS Batch now offers multi-container jobs. It took them a few years, but AWS Batch has finally responded to my 17 ways to run containers on AWS shtick by now supporting multiple containers. Well, I guess I've been told. New AWS region in Mexico is in the works. Pricing should be interesting on this. It may well offer some relief to folks suffering from the Sao Paulo telco monopoly that drives data transfer costs to stratospheric heights, usually not seen even by AWS's lofty standards. Engage online sports fans with live event commentary using generative AI on Amazon Bedrock. This, as so many generative AI use cases do, fails to answer a very poignant question. If you don't care enough to write the words yourself, why should anyone else care enough to read them? You're basically flooding the zone with noise. It's not respectful to your users, customers, or audience. Delivering business value with cloud platform teams. Does AWS themselves have a cloud platform team as described in this post? No, they absolutely do not, which is why I like this post so much. So often the narrative from big tech is, here's what we do, you should act like us. Yeah, that's not going to go well for you. This is what they've seen work with customers, and it may well work for more of us. I prefer stories like this to, here's how we do things at AWS, please cargo cult it into your organization narratives. Well done, AWS team. More like this, please. And finally, a moment of hilarity. The power of cloud storage for small and medium businesses, unlocking efficiency and security. Okay, I was gearing up to nitpick this to death, but I just can't. There's a link to this in the show notes. Click it and look at the hilarious uncaptioned picture with zero context. This is what we think a small business environment might look like. And boom, one of the most patently depressing open plan office environments you can imagine, complete with a seagull manager hovering over someone's shoulder, helping them work. This is unintentionally one of the funniest things AWS has ever put out. And that's what happened last week in AWS. I'm cloud economist Corey Quinn. Let's have some fun with this.